Good morning and happy Wednesday, everybody. We are officially midway through this third week of March, and I want to welcome you to the Ninja Habits Huddle call. This call is centered around doing our daily ninja activities, starting with our gratitudes and affirmations. We show up, we plan our day, we are intentional and on purpose about our business and our lives. We will write two note cards today and also focus on our hot and warm list. So let's go ahead and get started because we are digging into one of our weekly habits today, which is the 50 live conversations. We're going to dig into a little bit more of that by talking about how do we have better conversations. So let's get started this morning. What is something you're grateful for this morning? Just go ahead and pop that into the chat. You can also unmute yourself and share if you would like. Let's see here. All right. So one thing I'm definitely grateful for this morning is that I had a very good day yesterday. It's a very productive day, but is just working on not hurrying, which I don't know if you guys have ever worked on that before, but just working on just enjoying the day. Excuse me, and just taking time to just enjoy every part of the day. So I'm grateful I was able to do that yesterday. I'm really working on like not being stressed about getting things done, if that makes sense. You're grateful that your new neighbors just moved in 2 months ago, Karen? I was wondering, I was like, well, that's really awesome, but I want to know more. I felt like I was at the beginning of a story. My new neighbors, I just moved in 2 months ago. Okay, gotcha. Awesome. So you must have some good neighbors. That's what it sounds like. Neighbors are they can make or break your your experience in your home, can't they? I will add, I am grateful for my neighbors. I have wonderful neighbors, especially one. He's like an uncle to my doggies. He watches the dogs when we have people over. He's just such a good guy. We invite him to all of our family functions when we have food. He comes over or I take him a plate. It really does. It really actually is one of the reasons why we still live in this house is just because we're like, gosh, we just love our neighbors. Terry, grateful you got your pictures done with D.R. Horton yesterday. Oh, well, awesome. What'd you do? Get some headshots? Nothing like a fresh headshot, right? I changed mine yesterday. Little content. Oh, nice. Love it. Great job. Grateful for dinner with old friends last night. That sounds nice. What are you guys grateful for this morning? Share that in the chat. Clarity. That's a great one, Brittany. Clarity makes everything better, doesn't it? The opposite of that is confusion. So I don't know too many people who like to live in a confused state. So I love that. That's a great thing to be grateful for. Awesome. Well, as you guys are continuing to put down what you're grateful for, we can move on to affirmations. So we'll take some time, give some time to write our affirmations, but I am going to, get through a couple of these a little quicker today. So um, if you see me move on, it's okay. Just keep doing what you're doing. I just want to make sure we get time to talk about our topic today, which is conversations and having better conversations. And more specifically, today we are going to be concentrating on um, asking the right questions and what questions we can ask people to have those conversations. So I'm excited about that. And while you're writing your affirmations, be thinking about who you want to reach out to today for your note cards. My voice is it's got morning voice today, really bad. Working on it. But think about who you want to reach out to for your note cards today. Good morning. If you're just now joining us, we're working on our affirmations. You can also catch up with sharing something that you're grateful for this morning in the chat. Another thing I just thought of I'm grateful for is we were driving home the other night and it was about 8:30 and it was still light out. Like the sun was still going down. I don't know why that just makes me so happy. Just having that extra daylight. Oh, it changes everything. Oh, yeah, Shalonda. Doesn't it? It really does. And just getting out in the fresh air, being able to get out and walk again. I always forget how much I miss it until it's time? Good morning. If you're joining us, we are working on our affirmations. And then also feel free to catch up with us and share something you're grateful for in the chat. We'd love to hear it. Grateful that your husband is back home from his dad break. I don't know what a dad break is, but I think that sounds pretty amazing. Is that like guy time?
Yeah, so we do. So I came up with this mom break and dad break thing. So we try to do like 24 hours, or if we're traveling like somewhere to a nearby city or state, then it's like 72 hours.
Uh
And so mine was last month and his was this month. So I'm so grateful because his children need him.
huh. It's his children when he gets back from dad break.
Oh, 100%.
That sounds amazing. My mom used to do something like that. My dad didn't, but my mom used to do something, and I do it every once in a while. And she would just go to a hotel local and just go take a little break from life, from responsibilities, from adulting and all the things. And I didn't know it till I was older that she was just here local. I thought she was like away. I mean, she
Oh,
was.
no, we
What do
go
you?
like around the like I usually for our 24s we'll go literally 6 minutes. There's a hotel like right down the street. And so we usually will just go there for just one day.
Yeah,
But sometimes we have a timeshare, so sometimes if we find deals, we'll go to like one of the local resorts for a couple of days.
I love that. I should have named it. That would just made it more fun. I could have called it my mom break. And then it's interesting too, personalities, because I need those breaks. My husband does not. He doesn't need them. But, I think it depends on the kids too and how they are with each parent. I love that. Terry says, how fun. Yeah, Terry, you can go take grandma breaks. I go to work on our STR twice a year. I've gone by myself several times and it's lovely. Yes. Alone time is so underrated.
I just have to ask, when you guys do this, do you also not take any phone calls from them?
Well, my family knows that when I'm gone and away, or I should say my husband knows that when I'm gone and away, that the point is that I'm taking time away. So, yeah, he doesn't
I would
really
try
bother
to do
me.
that. Mine would still call me. So
It depends. It depends. So I like literally this came all out of like super duper stressed after my third baby, to the point where I like went on this whole journey, and I like was teaching other moms how to do it. And so it just depends on what kind of break you're taking. So we call
yeah,
it like, oh, a strategic break. That means we're like working on the business. Or if it's like, I just need like a real life mental break, it's like, yeah, don't call me. Like, I'll call you. And so it's just, there's like rules for all the different breaks, you know?
that's
Oh,
so
great.
good.
Yeah, I mean, I've known people who are writing books and things that will go do that. Like they'll just like, I gotta go somewhere else, um, and yeah, I think it's important to take it when you need it. I think that's the hardest part is realizing when you need it. Shannon said hers are 10 and 13, so they don't have phones. That laugh out loud. That's strategic on several levels. Shannon, I love that. I love that you are delaying the phones. I also delayed phones. My youngest didn't get a phone till she was 16, like an actual real phone with the phone number. She had a hand-me-down Wi-Fi phone, but she didn't have like a true phone. Um, but I want to say when she was about 14 or 15, I think she got her older sister's hand-me-down phone. Um, it made life a lot easier. And we've dealt with some things since she's gotten the phone. So it is, you got to teach them about the phones. So I love that. So plan your day. What's the one thing you're going to accomplish today? What are you going to be focusing on today? Today is my tax meeting with my bookkeeper. So you guys, we're going to get that tackled today, my tax homework. That is definitely my one thing I'm getting done today. Um, I did have an appointment today, but it got moved to Saturday, so I got to rethink what I'm going to do today. What about you? What are you guys going to be accomplishing today? Nancy's got an office meeting today. You're volunteering at the blood drive at your daughter's school. A fifth grade classmate of hers is battling cancer. Oh, that's so awesome, Shannon. Brunch with a client friend. Love it. Next week is we don't have too much left of April, of March, do we? before we're into April. Well, what I'm going to do as you guys are writing out your 2 personal note cards and reviewing that hot and warm list, we're going to talk a little bit more about one of the Ninja Weekly habits, which is our 50 live conversations or 50 interviews, whatnot, whatever you want to call it. So today we're going to talk about having better conversations. So I know a lot of us struggle with striking up those conversations with strangers, with maintaining those conversations. You guys are familiar with Ford, which is the acronym, and tell me if you're not. I'm going to go over it a little bit. But Ford, which is family, and then occupation. And what Ford does is it tells you how to have conversations or have small talks. Recreation or dreams. And then D, oh, sorry, I went ahead of myself. Dreams. Okay. I should edit that one. That's going to bother me. But anyways, this is kind of a conversation structure that you can follow. So family, occupation, recreation, dreams. And what does that look like, though, in conversations? Because so many times I hear people say, well, what do I do? How's your family? And just these basic questions. But the first thing you want to do is we want to generally break the ice with people. We want to ask questions that kind of get things going. The key is open-ended questions, not yes and no or good, where people can just say good, right? So here's some ideas of some general icebreaker questions that you can ask. Hey, what's been the highlight of your week so far or your year so far? Great question. This is a wonderful question to ask people, even people you've just met. Like, hi, how are you today? Great. So, how's it going for you? What's been the highlight of your week? What's the highlight of your day? How you ask these questions is also, you don't want to ask in a voice that is I wouldn't say boring, but monotone. So what's been the highlight of your week so far? Nobody wants to answer that, right? You have to have a little bit of pep in your step when you're talking to people. You have to give off some good, happy energy, not not energy where you feel like you're drudging through a conversation, right? You genuinely need to feel like you want to talk to that person and get to know them. And I think that's the first important part. If you're not there yet, work on that first. But if you are there and you're pretty good at striking up conversations with people, then just work on some of the questions you're asking. What's something you're excited that you're working on right now? Or how did you end up in Columbus? Or how did you end up in the current job they're in, their real estate? If you don't know where they work, or if this is really a brand new person, for example, say that you are at the bank and you're talking to the teller. So how did you end up at this job? Ask them. Especially if they look like they're enjoying it. If they look like they're enjoying their job, then it's good to ask people these questions. People love to share their stories. In the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, I tell my kids to read this book. I don't know if they have yet, but I keep telling them that they need to read it. I don't think they've gotten through it. But the premise of that book is that people love to talk about themselves. So the purpose of asking good questions and having good conversations is so that you can listen to other people. So you become an active and good listener, right? So when you're doing these, it really should be, they're talking 70% of the time, you're listening 70% of the time, and then 30% of the time is, you asking questions or you talking, right? So what about some personal or interest-based questions? Now, we haven't got to the Ford questions yet. These might just be questions that you're asking to find out more about them too. So what do you love to do when you're not working? I love this question because you can ask somebody what their hobbies are and people will just kind of look at you like, I don't know, I don't really have hobbies. But if you ask them, what do you love to do when you're not working? They'll tell you. I think some people don't want to admit that their hobby is maybe just, binging the next show on Netflix, right? But if you ask them, what do you love to do when you're not working? They might say, oh, I'm really into the series right now. Or, I love just going for walks or hanging out with my dog, my kids, whatever. Um, if you had extra day off every week, how would you spend it? This is another great question. This kind of starts getting into the dream state with people. How about you guys answer that question right now? If you had an extra day off every week, how would you spend it? I'm curious to know. Um, while you guys are answering that, have you traveled anywhere amazing lately, or do you have any trips planned? This is a great way to tap into that recreation part of the forward conversation. And what's a hobby or interest you've always wanted to try but haven't yet? This is a great one to ask for clients who you're currently working with or people you're in relationship with, to try to find out things that are important to them so you can personalize their experience. I think that would be really cool. If somebody told me, hey, I've always wanted to take up painting, then maybe as a closing gift, you give them a painting class, right? Just really making it, going the extra mile for people that you're working with to show them that you care and that you're listening to them. So if you guys had an extra day off every week, how would you spend it? I don't see anybody spending any time off doing anything fun because the chat's blank. Come on, guys, there's got to be something you would be doing. I am such a utilitarian person when it comes to time off. Um, but I would probably be spending it in my yard, like planting flowers or just doing things around the house. Probably not as productive as I should have been spending too much time by the pool. Hey, that's productive. We need to change our mindset about what's productive, right? Spending time by the pool is very productive. It's good for you. It's good for your mind. It's good for your spirit. It's good for your body. Nancy would read. Love it. Needlepoint. Ah, see, I'm learning new things about you guys already. Love that. We're realtors. It would involve some working. Well, that's the point. Maybe you want to work on your day off a little bit. I don't know. Tennis, golf, boating, traveling to lakes. Oh, that sounds lovely, Karen. I want to be your friend. Let's go. Natalie says productive for your tan. Exactly. That's productive for your tan. Vitamin D, you're increasing your vitamin D, right? Love that. Do you see how that just answering that simple question connected us even more? Because it brought us into more of a relationship conversation and not just surface, right? Going to a beach and watching the waves. Oh, Shalonda, you're speaking my love language. Watching, listening to the waves, feeling the wind in your hair. Oh, it's the best. That is the best. I love that. So, what about family? What are some questions we can ask around family? How about tell me about your family? Are you originally from here? Learning about people's background brings you closer to who they are and what's important to them. What's something your family or friends would say you're really passionate about? Sometimes people have a hard time tooting their own horn, but when you ask them to do it from the perspective of a loved one or a friend, it's a lot easier for them to share, right? So, what a great question. So, that's a question you could definitely ask when you're talking to people, especially those people that really are hard at opening up. You know, Realtors, we have no problem sharing. But sometimes you get those people who definitely are a little more introverted and they're a little more guarded, right? So sometimes you might have to ask a couple more open-ended questions to get that conversation going or to hit that passion button, as I call it. My husband's a great example of this. He'll seem like he's disinterested in conversation sometimes, but when you hit something that he likes to talk about, he blossoms. He's just like, oh, well, that's something I'm going to talk about. And he's like, la, 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 la. And so a lot of people are like this. Like, you just have to find out what's the thing they love to talk about. And once you find that, you're like, oh, they aren't shy at all, right? I'm sure you all know somebody like that. What about work and aspiration questions? How did you get started in your career? Is this what you've always wanted to do? That sounds like an interview question to me, but I still think it's a good one. What's the most rewarding part of your job? That's probably one I would pick out of this list the most because I think that it helps people to focus on what they do like about their job. And I'm sure if I asked you guys this question, you guys would say things like helping the clients or those type of things. If you could do anything for work without worrying about money, what would it be? That's another great question. So I'll ask you guys that question this morning. If you could do anything for work without worrying about money, what would it be? I'm going to tell you what I would do. I would be one of those people that travels and like critiques different locations and, like checks out resorts. I would love that. Like just send me like a world traveler, I guess, but not all the time, only like maybe once a month. You just send me somewhere and you're like, "Hey, Alicia, I want you to go and live here and learn all the local stuff and try all the restaurants and let us know how it is." I would love doing that. Shannon, a dog snuggler. Oh, you know what? I bet that's a job. I bet you could make that a job. A dog snuggler. Real estate, Natalie, you're in your perfect place. I love it. A track coach for high schoolers. Interesting. That's awesome. I love that. A food critic, Carla. Oh, a woman after my own heart. I would love that too. Shalonda, I would work behind the scenes on TV shows or movies. Ooh, that sounds fun. Karen said, yep. I love it. Do you see how does it make you feel sharing these things this morning? Like as I'm asking these questions, is it igniting something in you? Does it make you feel just more heard? Just even sharing, even through the chat. You're not even having a conversation, but you're just sharing. And doesn't it reconnect you with that in some way? Right? And then we have our future and dream oriented questions. If you could live anywhere, where would it be and why? I can never answer this question because I haven't been to that place yet. But when I get there, I will let you know. But that's a legitimate answer, right? I haven't been there yet. I don't know. What's one personal or professional goal you're working toward this year? And then what's a dream or bucket list experience you want to check off in the next few years? What a great thing. This question right here, when you can go from being just a real estate agent to being a dream enhancer or maker, think of the power of that with your clients. If a client said, my dream bucket list is I want to see the Grand Canyon, and then you come across someone who's offering wonderful trips to the Grand Canyon, guess what you do? You connect them. You say, hey, you wanted to see the Grand Canyon. I have a friend who's putting together this amazing Grand Canyon experience. I thought I'd connect you to. Isn't that something? Now you're making dreams happen for your clients. Terry, I want a peaceful day to go spend on a beautiful ranch and ride or be around horses. Oh, wow. That sounds great. I love hearing about all the things that you guys want to do. So, pro tips before we finish up today. Listen for common ground. You'll naturally find connections. So, Terry just mentioned horses. Guess what, Terry? I know a lot of people with horses, and I know people who own ranches. And so, that's something I could say, hey, Terry, you want to go spend some time in Texas with a friend of mine on her horse ranch? You might be like, yes, that sounds amazing. Yeah, exactly. So I just could make a dream happen for Terry. Follow up with curiosity. Ask them to elaborate on something they mention, and then keep it light and engaging. Don't make it feel like an interview. You don't want to just pound them with question, 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 but you really want to let the the answers develop into that conversation. So last week, I think I challenged you guys to talk to someone new. Today, I'm going to challenge you. Ask some good questions to people around you, even if they're people you already know who are friends, doesn't matter, right? Go back. Let's see, which question are we going to use today? Um, why don't we start with the extra day off every week? How would you spend it? And just tell them, say, hey, I was on a call this morning and they asked this question, and I'm curious. If you had an extra day off this week, what would you do? How would you spend that week? Get to know them, get to know what's important to them, right? You guys, thanks so much for joining us today for the Ninja Daily Huddle call. We are halfway through this week already. We are over halfway through the month already. And hopefully you guys are continuing to see a difference and a momentum in your business as we move into the spring market. Thank you guys for joining me. Everybody have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye, everybody. Thanks for sharing today, too. I really enjoyed that.